Biblical Sabbath, and it's 12 p.m. And if you would use this calendar as a reference, people do it, I do it, but nevertheless it's still a fiction. But it's what's guiding the world to at least have some kind of unity, I guess, because nobody else is paying attention, generally speaking, to the other or to the original calendar time frame. 12/3/2015. I would just want to point out what the Sabbath looks like. So where are we at here? Let's see. We are Thursday, December 3rd, last quarter. And we're going to come up onto another Sabbath next week. And we'll be talking about that next week. And I want to introduce you to the material that I got, but it's just not that material. It's conclusively more something other, another place, a lot more research. And I'm not here to tell you to do Sabbath on the calendar or the Gregorian calendar. I'm just pointing out the obvious truth. But the world still has to move on, and the things are still happening to do what they're doing, and you still got to go to work and pay your bills, and the creditors have all their time frames set on the calendar, and that's not, I'm not trying to overthrow that, because obviously that's not going to happen. I live in some kind of reality, but I at least like to share with you that the Gregorian and Julian calendar is not the biblical calendar for Sabbath. When it deals specifically with Sabbath and rest, feast days, those days are all geared by the sun and moon as the controlling time system for the Heavenly Father's. Hey Jeanette, will you do me a favor? Give me my prayer shawl, will you? I forgot to. How dare I forget my prayer shawl? So keep that in mind. Yeah. My good old prayer shawl. Now I got a prayer shawl from Israel, and I tore off all the other things I didn't like about it. I just kept it a basic real live prayer shawl. So I got a real live prayer shawl. And it finally got a wash, and hadn't had it washed in years, and it was, it needed a bath. So I'm gonna touch back on this. So let's go ahead and move forward here. Hey, this is the Craig Kirk School of Law. I'm not here to sell nothing to you today. I just want to introduce you to the site, the page. And so under Mosaic Law, you scroll down, and my site's kind of an old archaic setup site, but nevertheless, it's the best I can do. It's what I got. And we have some things in here that are going to be, I got to go and put the material up and get this thing fixed, get the site worked better. And but just for this day, the Sabbath day of rest, you click that link, go to the page, and today's about rest. We're not here to sell, teach law, the common law. I mean, the biblical common law is in effect. But we're not here to try to make a sale. That's not what today's about. Today's a wholly different day. Today's a special day. It's a day of rest. And that's what my intent is. So, like I said, it's the Craig Kirk School of Law. It's CraigKirkSchoolofLaw.org, Sabbath Research, Rest, and I need some correction here, but whatever. We're going to figure all that out as we go. It's a lot of work to do a site, but all right. So, you get an idea of this page, or the site page, and I got some videos on there. Hey, did you know that Sabbath's not on Friday to Saturday? You can check that out. Go look at those for yourself on YouTube. I kind of plead out the elements to it and discuss. Now, I left some things out, and I actually forgot, but I didn't want the video to go too overbroad. And so I started off kind of rough, and then it a lot better. And then so, because I take great offense to some people's thinking, and then I was attacked for some of the things I said. And to this day, it still kind of bothers me why a lot of Sabbath keepers, Friday to Saturday Sabbath keepers, who are devout Sabbath keepers, And I'm not condemning them. Well, that's not my job. I'm not going to do that. I don't really care if, one way or another, how they do or when they do Sabbath. That's not my business. That's for them and the Father and them to figure that out. I mean, if I can help aid them in understanding more, that's fine. If I can't, that's how that works out. You can't control or do everything, being all-knowing everything and help all things. Just the way life is. So I leave it with that. I'm at peace with that. But I am kind of disgruntled or disenfranchised or aggravated in a way that some people have said things to me about the Sabbath and some of the things I've said, and I take a great offense, kinda, about the teaching and training and the stuff, and that something's wrong, and this biblical stuff is straight out. You got to know your business. There's no, I'm going to deceive you, or I'm not going to tell you something, or I'm not going to completely go through with all the research on Sabbath, just on the Sabbath question alone. I mean, this thing is very serious, and it's neglect, it's gross error, on my part or anybody else's part to not tell you the whole story. We're finding things that are in Sabbath and the Chronicles and the Old Testament out, and I found things in the New Testament, and other people are pointing stuff out that are earth-shattering. I mean, why are we not teaching this? We're not teaching this. This doesn't make any sense. We're not teaching these things. It's a shame. So, take a look at the page. It's saddening and disheartening that, but at the same time, we're still learning and getting all the information and pleading the Sabbath out. I found things in Sabbath that, I got to upload these 66 documents. I'm still working on them. I'll have them done probably the end of the year, or middle of the end of the year. I'll have them all done, and I'll upload the whole. You can download them all for free in a zip file, or it'll be 66 PDFs or 66 Kingsoft Writer or whatever documents that will deal with every word that I found, and I didn't. Hopefully, I didn't miss something, because there's a lot of distraction. A lot of times, it's weird how this works out. And hopefully, I didn't miss anything, but I went through every word, every line, every paragraph, every page, sentence, book, chapter, whatever, to look for anything that dealt with time. And time in the Bible is very specific. Only one place in the Bible that's so vague and ambiguous, it's not even funny. Where the Friday to Saturday keepers, myself included, where we say it's even to even. That's the most ambiguous, vague place there ever was in the scriptures I can find. And I mean, I'm crawling through every line, every word, every page, every line, paragraph, page, book, chapter, whatever. I'm crawling through every bit of it. And it's arduous job. It's not an easy task, I'm going to tell you. Because you got to really look and make sure that you're paying attention. So, like I said, this is the law school, and today's dealing with the Sabbath. So, I want to scroll down here a little bit, and I want to show you John 11:9. Jesus answered, "Are there not 12 hours in a day?" There's a huge hint here. What's this about? Now, some people want to take it literally and make it very important to what it means, and some people want to just brush it off like it doesn't really have any semblance or meaning. If any man walketh in the day, he stumbleth not, because he seeth the light of the world. But if a man walketh at night, he stumbles, because there is no light in him. Walking in darkness. But ain't there 12 hours in a day? So we scroll down here to Ezekiel 46:1. Thus saith the Lord, the gate of the inner court that looketh toward the east shall be shut the 6 working days. See this word days? But on the Sabbath it shall be open, and in the day of the new moon it shall be open. Now what if your new moons and your Sabbaths collide. What are you going to do there? Or what if the Sabbath and the new moon days are different? What if they are different and they collide? What are you going to do? But once they leave the Friday to Saturday, like I did in the videos, once they leave, what would you do? And that's a legal question. That's a legal question. All right. You can take a look at the page. Now, this is just the beginning stage of this page. There's going to be a lot more videos and material I'm going to be uploading. And but this page is, I'm trying to keep it narrow, specifically to Sabbath. Today's a two-part Sabbath educational day, if you will. 2 parts to it. Okay? So, I'm going to go ahead and X out that. No, I'll leave that up. I'm going to go ahead and move forward here. Let's go ahead. I want to introduce you to a guy that helped me further understand, by training, teaching, and education, helped me further understand scriptures and the Sabbath. Not scriptures in so much as the overall scriptures. I learned a lot from George. Yeah, I'm going to X out on that. That sucks. Okay. Okay, well, let's see what's going on here with this. Now I can't get out. Okay. I learned a lot with George. Okay, well, I got stuck here. This is not good. So I'm stuck on a page here for some reason. I'm going to have to figure out how to get this out of here. And that's not very good here. I don't know the control commands to get out. That doesn't do anything there. All right, so this is KLS Radio Nighttime. Okay, so I got out. Okay, that's my fault. Mess around. I need to X that out, close that window. Okay, so I learned a lot from George, and I was before I got to George, I learned a lot even before George. So there's a succession of people I've learned from. Ultimately, in the end, when it comes to legal research, I had to do it myself. Everybody has to confirm, qualify, and research this out. You have to be your own researcher. A lot of people parakeet other people. Don't do that. That's a catastrophic mistake. You could parakeet if your research is the same as theirs. You both came to the same exact conclusion, same reasons why, and the framework's basically the same. You could do that. That's fine. But you always have to do your own research. And I took Troy's material and I did research against it. I was trying to disprove it. I sat on his material for 3 or 4 or 5 years. I don't know. I don't remember the time. But I sat on Troy Miller's material and his discs for a long time. I could not handle even the idea of questioning the Sabbath. I rebelled. I rejected it. I rejected Troy's material, not because that I'm all-knowing. It's because of the fear of being wrong of what I was taught. Understand? And so I did Sabbath before I took any of Gordon's classes, and it got totally reaffirmed when I took some of his classes, like the Mosaic Law class. So I got it reaffirmed multiple times through other people, and then one day I got Troy's material because I kept looking, and it was strange because I wasn't really interested in this. But he sent me the disc. He sent like 3 or 4 copies now. God bless his heart. Troy Miller. So I gave them away, or I didn't give them away. I loaned them out, and they never come back. So I got them now, and I got to make copies. I'm going to put them up on the site. They're not for sale. You can download them. And with that being said, so Follow the Cloud Ministry asks, which calendar does the Creator recognize, the Gregorian or his own? Now, if you do Friday to Saturday, I don't care. I'm not here to tell you not to do Friday to Saturday. I'm not here to condemn you. That's not anything remotely close to this. We're not here to do that. We don't care. You got to deal with it. It's your beliefs, your convictions. Hey, keep them. You have a Sabbath. That's great. Whatever. But Troy says all truth passes through three stages. First, it's ridiculed. Second, is violently opposed. And third, is accepted as self-evident. Okay? So you scroll down to his page. Look at it. The Creator's calendar is predicated on the moon and sun. And you can do Sabbath Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, whatever day you reckon. But it has to be exclusively and vehemently believed 100% in your heart. Because don't do what I did, because I sat on the information for 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years, I don't know how long. And one day I started researching and looking. I'm like, oh my God. If any of this material he's saying is true, it puts in question the Friday and Saturday. I never considered it. I never considered this. So, take a look at it. Let's go back up to the top here. Here is services offered, but here, contact him and ask him for his email or for his newsletter, and ask him for a copy of his discs. And it takes a while because it's a lot of work for him, but he will eventually get you the copy of the disc. And ask him for his email, and look at the reports he sends out on it. Look at the reports he sends out on it. It's very important that you even consider the concept. Like I said, if you do Sabbath Friday to Saturday, hey, I'm okay with that. We're not here to bash, and that's not my goal. So he's got some things on here. Take a look at it. He's got a whole bunch of material on here. Okay. And he's got some documents you can download. All this site's downloadable. It's consumable. You can't sell it. Make a donation to him. It's got a donation. That's up to you. Whatever. But he's got 3 distinct different days in Scripture, not just work days and Sabbaths. Now they practice this. This is actually in Genesis 1, the end of Genesis 1:31, and Genesis 2 through 4. You find this in the very structure of the language. So this is a very neat thing right here. Worth saving. Historical account. Short but packs a wallop version. So we've got new additions. David said tomorrow is a new moon. When is the new moon? Improved. Does the delivery of the manna story destroy the creation calendar? Improved. SDA version. So he's got a lot of neat things that you can consume, read, and download these and put these in your notebooks. Because if you ever lose this, or you lose power, well, the power ain't no good if you don't have notebooks. You can go study it, look at it, keep scriptures. Like they did in the 1800s, right? 1900s, early 2000s, or early 1900s. All the way up to the 40s and 50s. No TV, no internet, nothing, We start getting into all that. So, Lunar Sabbath and the Creation Week. Here's a new one. History of the Lunar Sabbath and Adventism, whatever, by the BibleTruth.org. Must read for SDA. I'm not a Seventh-day Adventist, so I don't have any dogs in that fight or that hunt. Educate yourself. Learn to prove the creation calendar from scriptures. Also answer objections to the creation calendar from scriptures. So you can download. You can go get new Moonphase Pro software like I did and use that. And farmers, a lot of people use this. So you got eSword down here. I highly recommend a free program called eSword. Scriptures search engine. So take a look at the site and go here to contact to get his email. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get out of there. Get off this page. Here's another one. Israeli New Moon Society. Welcome to the Israeli New Moon Society. Download the Lunar Cal 4.0 release software version software for predicting the visibility of the moon. Now, Israel's going to go back to this. That's the ultimate goal. When they build the temple, you could take this to the bank. The days of Friday to Saturday in Israel are going to be over. When they build a new moon temple, new moon society, when they build that, the days of Friday to Saturday are gone. Period. They've already said that. It's already planned. They've been waiting on it. The Vatican's in a monstrous uproar. They're really mad. They're doing all these things. They're threatening. They're using Iran, proxy wars, invasion, all these things. The Vatican wants to put its headquarters in Jerusalem. Now, the Vatican, I believe, has a very substantive interest in the New Jerusalem or the Roman Wailing Wall. They still got property. They still funded it over the years. They went in here and bought it, or got it, or owned it, whatever. And the Jews are praying at the Israeli wall, or the Roman fortress wall. We should be down in Old Jerusalem and King David, but we're not. So take a look at this site. They got some videos on here. How to observe and report, guidelines, software, forums. What to join. moonsocial@gmail.com. So you got that. You got sightings. And there's actually there's some videos in here too that's see, handouts, view all. Well, I'm going to stop that because that's going to eat me up on bandwidth. So take a look at the website. It's right out of Israel. It's happening. It's going there. It's real. And there's nothing that you can do to change it, because once we got told the truth, we're commanded as a matter of law to obey the truth. What are you going to do? I can't turn my back on it, man. I have so much research on Sabbath that just completely annihilates the concept of Friday to Saturday. But I respect Friday to Saturday, and I understand why it's happening and what the contract was with Jerusalem and Rome. I understand it. I respect it. I get it. Historically, I understand it. It makes sense. But for me, I'm not doing that. I don't have that problem. So, or that commitment or that covenant. I ain't doing it. And if they do assert the commitment, covenant problem up against me one day, well, then I'll have to address it then. I don't know. But right now, I don't have that problem, and I'm not doing it. I'm doing exactly what the Creator says in Genesis 1. So I'm going to X out of there. Okay. So we went to the school site. Here's the page. And so I want to touch on a couple little scriptures to help further educate ourselves. Deuteronomy 8. Now, this is just out of King James. Now, I was told the other day I should, in theory, really be looking at the 1612 or 1611 or 12 King James version versus the other ones. I should be looking at that very specifically, because the way it was written, the verses here is written. So I'm going to probably use both. Deuteronomy 8. Remember the Lord your God. 1. All the commandments which I commanded thee this day shall ye observe to do, that ye may live and multiply, and go and possess the land which the Lord sware unto your fathers. And thou shalt remember all the way which the Lord thy God led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble thee and to prove thee, to know what was in thy heart, where thou wouldest keep his commandments or no. And 3 says, and he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger, and fed thee with manna, which thou knowest not, neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee known that man doeth not live by bread alone, or by bread only, but by every word that proceedeth out the mouth of the Lord doeth man live. See this right here? That was kind of sketchy because on the way I was reading, I had some interruptions and distractions. So when you read this, I can't have that. It's interference. It makes it a little hard. See this right here? I'm going to highlight that. But every word that proceedeth out the mouth of the Lord doeth man live. So you start off Friday to Saturday, you end up here on the moon cycles. And so you're completely contrary to commerce and society. Completely contrary to commerce and society when you do it this way. You're on a whole different dimension or parallel. Everybody's working today. Today's my Sabbath. Not everybody's working on Friday and Saturday, Sunday. Because they might have 4 days on or whatever, or they might Friday evening to Saturday evening. You might be off Friday to Saturday evening and then work Sunday, or you have the whole weekend off consistently under the Vatican calendar. But my Sabbath is today, and today is a work day. Now this is part of the real common law. This Friday to Saturday Sabbath is not a part of the real common law. The real common law is you're independent and you have strict liability and you go alone. You're not attached. Your commerce is not predicated. Your Sabbaths and commerce are not predicated on man-made calendars. That is the real predication on the common law. That is the real deal. The Friday to Saturday is a substitute, but yet it still has the elements of common law in it. But the moon and sun detaching itself from statutory civil society and and going to exactly what the Creator says is the real common law. Is the real common law. And I'm going to make a note of that too. So when you get in here and you look at this, it says, by every word that proceeds out the mouth of the Lord doeth man live. Every word. Now, you know this is in Deuteronomy, right? Well, let's go take a look here. Let's scroll down here. Matt 4:4. But he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out the mouth of God. Matthew 4:4. So we got two, like I did last night. I did a show last night, and I talked about Louis Gohmert, representative, House of Representatives. I think he's senator, maybe he's a representative. I can't remember. The 34 or 37 senators or whatever members did a amicus curiae brief against the Affordable Care Act. I talked about the crimes of insurance. You know, the insurance crime statutes are in the scriptures. George said they were strict liability, okay, which is good. At least it starts a doorway or a path to get to the full understanding of that legal stuff on scriptures and insurance. But the thing that got me is that how Louis Gohmert in the amicus brief gave praise to it, and they read it, and you know what? That amicus brief went clear back to 1266 or 1260 or 1266, whatever it was, 1260. They cited clear back to 1260. 1260. I read that last night, took a look at it. I went through a little bit of the brief. I read the cases. I showed you. They had cases in there from the 1600s. They stopped there, and then they paralleled those cases to the 1700s, and then they took the 1791 case, or whatever it was, or 1640 case, and paralleled it, built the road, and went all the way back to 1260 or whatever. Go look at the video. I did it yesterday. Today is the Gregorian date of the 3rd of December. Same thing here. Matthew 4:4. I paralleled the Deuteronomy clear to Matthew, and here's the road. The road stops at the Old Testament, and Matthew takes and builds the road from the Old Testament to the New Testament, all the way to Revelations, because this same principle is in Revelations. But he answered and said, this is Christ. Is it written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. Why is that important? Every word proceedeth. Now we're in the New Testament. Every word. Not even word, or this word or that word, or some of the words. Every word from beginning of Genesis 1 till Revelations 32 or whatever it is, or 29. Whatever. Let's go take a look so I know what I'm talking about here. Or 22. Not 29, it's 22. So every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God from front to back is being applied. And when you do this in this context, you'll find out that there's a vast picture of time-related events. There's 1 year, 3 years. There is 7, 8. There is, I think, a 10 years, 17 year, 20 year, 49 year. There's specific. Time is very, very, very specific. It's not ambiguous like even. That doesn't even describe the calendar, especially in Genesis 1. So keep that in mind. So every word that proceeds out the mouth of God is very critical, very, very critical. And when you do the research that we've done, and we're continuing to do, and we'll do the rest of our days, obviously, before I'm completely satisfied, I will continue to do this research, every word. I will run it out. But right now, it's so overwhelming, it's not even... Some people just give up and say, I don't want to do this no more. Okay, it is. I mean, you're already halfway home because you predicate this feast days on the Sabbath, or on the cyclical moon and sun. But on the Sabbath Friday, on the Gregorian Sabbath, it's totally solar. The Gregorian calendar is a tropical solar calendar. There's no authorization to do that, but at least you know. At least you know, and you have to go research it out yourself. Where do I start at, Craig? Well, start at Genesis. Go to Troy's material, help you get faster. Go to Genesis, look at Strong's Concordance. Go to Troy Miller's material, look at it, and go from there. All right, with that being said, I'm going to shrink this down because I got to save this later. Okay. I'm going to touch on something. This is on a website called Islamic Evil Simplified, Coming to Grips with the Islamic Terror Threat. Now, this is a two-part video. One has to do with Sabbath. Part of it has to do with Sabbath, half of it. The other half deals with what we're dealing with what just happened in San Bernardino, California. Now, I didn't pull it up. It's Exodus 23. You go to Exodus 23. I'll go ahead and do it real quick here. And this actually doesn't start here, but I like to use it because I remember it the most. 23:20, and I'll make it simple. I want to read all this. You can go to Exodus 23 and read it. Okay, it says, I'm going to start at 23:19. No. See, Exodus 23:20. Now, America's got a big problem. We got debauchery, we got witchcraft, sorcery, got multiple religions. You're not supposed to have all this stuff in your country. You're not supposed to have Islam and the Torah and the Scriptures and Christianity in your country. You can have the Jews and Christianity in your country, but you're not supposed to have Hindus, Buddhists, Shintos, Satanists, atheists. You're not supposed to have that in your country. But we don't practice the Old Testament. We don't practice discrimination. We don't practice stonings and those kind of things, and bond servitude and 7 years slavery. So what ends up happening is that we have these problems that are coming in our country, and a lot of it's judgment, and some of it's just straight out ignorance of mankind. And the Father allowing it to happen without giving you the Job head. Job, remember Job, the guy Job? So let's take a look at this. Behold, I send an angel before thee to keep thee in the way, and to bring thee unto the place which I have prepared. Exodus 23:21. Beware of him and obey his voice. Is America doing this? Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice, and do all that I speak, then I am an enemy unto his enemy, and an adversary unto his adversaries. For my angel shall go before thee, and to bring thee unto the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, and the Canaanites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, and I'll cut them off. Thou shalt not bow down to their gods, nor serve them, nor do after their works, but thou shalt utterly overthrow them, and quite break down their images. And they shall serve the Lord your God, and he shall bless thy bread and thy water, and I'll take away sickness away from the midst of thee. There shall nothing cast their young nor their barren in thy land. The number of thy days will be full. And I will send my fear before thee, and destroy all the people to whom thou shalt not come, and I will make all thy enemies turn their backs on thee. And I'll send hornets before thee, which shall drive out the Hivites, Canaanites, the Hivites, the Canaanites, the Hittites before thee. I will not drive them out before thee in 1 year, lest the land become desolate, and the beasts of the field multiply against thee. Little by little I will drive them out before thee, until thou be increased and inherit the land. And I will set my bonds on the well, I'm not going to read that. That's the Red Sea. But so Exodus 23:32, thou shalt make no covenant with their gods. Thou shalt not dwell in thy land, lest they make thee sin against me. For if thou serve their gods, it will surely be a snare unto you. Notice it's a snare. It's not the death penalty, but it actually is a death penalty. You plead this snare thing out, and it becomes a death penalty. And all these curses, effects, sick, disease, poverty, all these things, wickedness, straight out wickedness that's committed, and all these penalties and judgments come upon you. And it's built in the environment. It's true. George is right. He told the truth there. He said it. That's exactly what's going on. Why am I reading this? Well, let's go over and take a look at this. Sudden jihad syndrome. The term coined. I'm going to open this up a little bit. The term coined by Daniel Pipes to refer a sudden transformation of a moderate Muslim into one who commits acts of violence or terror. This may result from one or of two situations. One, the moderate Muslim becomes more immersed in the religion, becoming more devout and more knowledgeable about the historical teachings and mandates of the religion. As a Muslim becomes more devout, he lowers his resistance to committing violent acts motivated by the called a violent jihad. The tipping point is sudden jihad syndrome. 2. When a Muslim... Now remember, we have white Muslims in this country too. Now if you listen to any of my broadcasts, looked at my website, you know the United States, with the Supreme Court itself, with the statutes, brought in Islamic law. It's here. It's been here. The hanging blacks and killing people and committing perjury and testifying and all the crimes that they do on the record and the police force, that's Islamic Sharia law to its fullest. And the Masons teach that, so when you become the police or all these other groups, you become a Mason. And you're going to learn the Quran. You're going to practice the Quran. You're going to use the Quran against people of the book. The people of the book, your enemy if you're a Mason. You're not for Christ, that's for sure. You're going to practice Taqiyya, Sunnah, Kitman. When a Muslim who appears to be a moderate Muslim to others hides his true beliefs and intent through effective practice of taqiyya, Islamic sanctioned deceit, and later decides to come out of the closet and let people know what he really thinks through his practice of violent jihad, usually in the form of a terrorist act. It is instructive to note that as Muslims become more devout, they tend toward greater violence. As Christians become more devout, they tend towards greater piety and greater tendency to promote nonviolence and prayer. If you disagree, see Moral equivalency. That's on this page. Now, why is this important? See, I saved this. Actually, I'm going to bookmark this again. Did I mark this? I'm going to go to put it in the law folder because that's what we're dealing with. So, sudden jihad syndrome. Now, if the reports are accurate and it's not some kind of spooky COINTELPRO or some kind of false terror act or whatever you want to call it, if it's not that, and I don't, so far the evidence is mounting, or at least identifying and putting these people in there, you know, whatever, then this is what happened yesterday. Whether it's whites, blacks, or Muslim, or Saudi Arabians, or whatever, whoever it was, it don't matter. This person practiced this. I don't care if it's a SWAT team. SWAT team does this too. Sudden burst. What do you think a search warrant is? Sudden jihad syndrome. Now, it does. SWAT teams go in there and kill people, don't they? They do it in the guise of the judge, with a search warrant. Sudden jihad syndrome. They got a search warrant and practice sudden jihad syndrome. You know, the West got its ass kicked. The West got defeated by Islam in the Middle East and Persia. We got to come to grips with this stuff because Usama Dakdok, Waleed Shoebat, and Bill Warner destroyed all the Christian and patriot mythology because they brought in the other part of the picture of Islam, the Holy Roman Empire, Christianity, and the timelines and the battles and all the things that happened. They brought it in and showed where the West had Stockholm Syndrome and had the abused dog syndrome and all the things that they will not teach on. So it's always the Vatican did this. Okay, well, the Vatican is a part of all these things. The Vatican did some things, but that's not the whole story. There's something else going on here. All right, let's go to the next article. I'm gonna go to. Okay, let's take a look at shoebot.com, awareness in action, rescuechristians.org. If you can help here, $1, $5, whatever you can do to help these people, God. Any kind of way you can help somebody save their life. The scripture in the Torah, the Sabbath, does not prohibit saving somebody's life on Sabbath. Trust me. Christ said that himself. And you're not doing business because you're saving a life. This isn't, I'm doing business, I donated on Sabbath. You may not want to do that. You can wait till after Sabbath. I'm telling you, getting somebody's ox out of the ditch or bringing your enemy's animals back to him or saving somebody on Sabbath or getting up off the ground when it was Sabbath, get up and walk, like Christ told the guy on Sabbath, and the Sadducees and Pharisees were about ready to stone him to death because he's walking on the Sabbath, probably laying in the rain. The Sadducees and Pharisees wouldn't have it any other way. By the way, Christ was 10 times the lawyer the Sadducees and Pharisees, the priests, were ever. 10 times. Can't even hold a candle. Not one of the Sadducees and Pharisees could hold a candle to Christ. Not one of them. Ever in a lifetime. To this day. To this day. San Bernardino massacre attacker confirmed Muslim fundamentalist lone wolf who went to a Muslim radical mosque and was impossible to detect. This is not true. For the government, it may have been impossible, but I don't believe that. And I'll show you why. And I want to talk about this too. Now, there's been people on YouTube that's revealed that said there was terror drills going on in San Bernardino every week for a month or 2 months or whatever. I want to put this in here. This concept. Right, now watch this. Now we're going to go over here to Pamela Geller. This is my girl here. She's pretty cool. She puts herself out in harm's way. San Bernardino jihadis strap GoPros on their body armor. Just like the military, GoPro. By the way, it's a neat piece of equipment. By Pamela Geller on December 3rd, 2015, Jihad America. 25 comments. The Times said that the deeply religious Farouk had traveled to Saudi Arabia for about a month this past spring and came out came back to the U.S. with a wife that he had met online. Like the devout Muslim who opened fire on a Jewish day school in France, the jihadi couple also had a GoPro camera strapped to their body armor and wore tactical clothing, including vests stuffed with ammunition magazines. San Bernardino Police Chief Jared Bergeron, identified the suspect as Saeed Rizwan Fahok, 28, and Teshfin, Malik, 27. Bergeron said that the Fahok was born in the U.S. and worked at San Bernardino County Department of Public Health. Family members told the Associated Press the pair were married. Patrick Barceri, co-worker of Fahok, who suffered minor wounds from shrapnel slicing through the building bathroom walls, told the Associated Press he had been sitting at the same table as Fahok at the banquet Wednesday morning, but his co-worker suddenly disappeared, leaving his coat on his chair. Bakari also said that Fahok had traveled to Saudi Arabia for about a month this past spring. Now I want to tell you about this. You go look this up. Now we have sudden jihad syndrome, right? We have it on the preparation day of Sabbath. Today's the Sabbath. We have preparation day. Yesterday was prep day. Right here. We have that. He goes to Saudi Arabia. Do you believe... Now this is a law school tactic. I want you to consider this strongly. Do you believe that he wasn't profiled at the health department and at Saudi Arabia and his lifestyle and his beliefs? Do you believe they didn't know that? Now here's why I say that. Now this is theory. This isn't concrete. I don't have evidence of it, but I'm going to tell you how this works. You know anything about gang stalking? You take the same platform of gang stalking by the government and private organizations and cultists and people that terrorize the police. There's gang stalking. Go look it up. They terrorize the police. The Klan did. A whole bunch of people gang stalk government, the police, everybody else to get something done. The purpose of gang stalking that the government does to you is to drive you into something. Drive you into gang stalkings to drive you into a decision to make you act. Now in San Bernardino there has been these drills. These what everybody's saying, like Dabu 7 and Monty can't remember the guy's name. He's got a YouTube channel. They are talking about these terror drills. They did them. I guess they did some of the terror drills at the same building that this happened at. So doing the terror drills in relationship to the individual who did this, or individuals, or whatever happened. So in theory, if it's an individual that did this, okay, the terror drills are the trigger mechanism to drive them into pressuring them, driving them into the. Because what they do is they psychologically profile you and see if you're a suspect or subject to commit these acts. The FBI targets idiots. They target that Ricky the shoe bomber and them is 3 idiots up in. There's people up in Cleveland, Ohio that wanted to blow up a bridge. They target people to drive you to be predisposed. And it might be worth doing. They may need to do that. We need to vet these people out into society, see if they're worth doing that. If they will do that. If they're worth vetting out to see if they're predisposed to doing these acts. This guy here went to Saudi Arabia for 30 days The question I ask you is, do you believe that they didn't know that he went to Saudi Arabia? Do you believe that he didn't come back and do that? And do you believe with the terror drills that they didn't know he was going to do that? I don't believe that for a minute, because my legal training tells me that. Not because I'm a conspiracy theorist. I know how the things work and how gang stalking works. I understand. I've seen here right here in Ohio how it works and what they do. I know one guy, they damn near drove him insane. I told him what to do and it stopped. It's just common legal state-sponsored terrorism tactics. That's all. You're gonna have to deal with this. That's all it is. And they did this in the sovereign committees. They gang stalked the hell out of people. You just don't know what we're dealing with here. I don't want to share that piece of information with you because this is how it works. This is all how it works in theory and in practice. Can I prove it's happened here? No. But when you run down the relationship between the terror drills and this bombing, I suspect they knew this guy was predisposed to doing this, and they caused him to do it. And the terror drills were whether there was a handler that was running the operation or not. The terror drills were designed to provoke the suspected person to provoke him or her in such a way, predisposed to doing this. He's on the teetering edge mentally and spiritually, and they pushed him over. The drills have the effect of causing that. Nobody's asking the question, what were the terror drills effects on this guy? Did he know? Because he had terror drills in the same building. What were the effects? In his mind, the terror drills are the same as the sudden jihad syndrome. I'd like to share that with you. Keep that in mind, okay? I'm not saying it happened. I'm just saying the effects of being subjugated to a terror drill, and you're predisposed mentally, spiritually. Maybe you have a mental illness. Maybe you're being groomed for this. He went to Saudi Arabia and they flipped him probably. Saudi Arabia probably put him up to it. If you don't think Saudi Arabia is behind a lot of this terrorism, you're just mistaken. Iran, United States, Saudi Arabia, Canada, Israel, they all have a dog in the fight. They're all part of it. Just look at the Middle East and the stuff they're doing there. Look at Fast and Furious. Look at Benghazi. I mean, it's just there. And this is part of Scripture of Revelations. We're going to play a video. If I can find the video real quick, I'll play it. If I can't, we're going to conclude today. So let's see here. Where are we? I've been wanting to do this video. I got to really make a show on this. This is okay. What happened to my? I'm missing a folder here. Let me clear. I didn't put it in a trash can, did I? Lord knows I can't do that. Or it's on my desktop and I don't see it. I gotta Corn Forest, Paralegal, Research Sabbath. Okay, I'm missing a folder here. Let me go to oh, here it is. I changed the icon. I changed the icon. Okay, I'm going to I'll go back up to the top, go to YouTube videos. Let's see if it's in here. I don't know if I can find it easily. Here it is right here. Man, I'm going to tell you right now, you got to go.
We're trying to bridge the worlds of natural sciences. And so for those of you for looking for ways to get into that world and that expertise, we'll certainly hear some of the research that comes out of that today. But I urge you to use that as a mechanism and entry point. I'm sure Charles would be happy to do that. So let me turn the floor over first to Nils.
I'm going to give you the name of the video. Go download this, listen to it very closely. Fine-tooth comb this video. Fine-tooth comb this video. Then go to numbersusa.org. Now this thing that we're seeing that they're describing here in numbersusa.org is in Revelation Scripture. It's in Daniel. And I'm going to put it together and make a video on this. I've never seen anything like this. And if any of this material that they're talking about is true, and I think it is, if any of the material in here is substantially true, it's amazing. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. I can't even describe the catastrophic consequences we're going to be dealing with later on. And it's all part of Scriptures. Climate security connections and an empirical approach to risk assessment. Go to YouTube, type this in. Climate security connections and empirical approach to risk assessment. Type that in, go to YouTube, download this. Anything related to this, download it, save it, and go through it. You need to know this. Go to USA Numbers. Also, go to a website called usanumbers.com. Look at, download the video. Download the video. Why are we afraid of Islam? 1400 years plays into this too. Alright, with that in mind, so you got that. We can play this. This here is, what is this? This is, it doesn't give me the time on here. So I'm going to back this out and I'm going to right click and see what we got here. It's 182 megs. Let's see, details. Does it give us a time? Okay, I thought it would give me a time, but it doesn't. So it's like an hour and a half or something. 1 hour and 16 minutes and 3 seconds. Download the video, save it. It is an incredible video. Now here's another one too. I want to show you. National security and climate change threat. Here's another video.
Hi there. My name is Jessica Barron. I'm from the Riley Center for Science, Technology, and Values, and it is my great pleasure to introduce our next two speakers, Rear Admiral Dr. David Titley and Major General Dr. Robert Latiff.
Now, if any of these things they say are true, it's amazing. It's just amazing. National security and climate change, threat of opportunity. These are amazing videos. And if you go to the Middle East, type in Middle East water drying up. Middle East water drying up. So I was going to play that. That's just too long. And today's kind of a Sabbath day of rest. I'm going to take it easy. And we're going to conclude. We'll conclude this. Now you can go to Pamela Geller, San Bernardino jihadi strap GoPros on their body camera, whatever. Take a look at what they did and how they did it. They didn't blow themselves up, of course, but and then Wally Schubot, San Bernardino massacre attacker, confirmed Muslim fundamentalist lone wolf, who went to a Muslim radical mosque and was impossible to detect. I don't believe this to be true, and I believe the article. Waleed's a good guy, man. I like Waleed. I couldn't do it without Waleed or Theodore. Both these guys together. Usama Dakdak, Waleed, Theodore, Pamela Geller, all of them. Bill Warner. I couldn't do what I'm getting ready to do and keep increasing in dimensions just on the Islamic issues, the Masonic order, scriptures, and all the prophecies. I couldn't do what I'm doing now and get ready to do here soon without these guys. These guys, I need these guys. These guys are vital to my research and my describing what I've seen and understand. And so go take a look at them. Subscribe or Facebook, Waleed and Pamela Geller and Theodore and Bill Warner and so forth. Take a look at them. Well, this concludes today's Sabbath. I hope this has been educational for you. Like I said, if you are on Friday to Saturday Sabbath, I'm not opposed to that. I understand it. It's part of the contract with Rome and the Jews in Israel to this day at the Wailing Wall. It's part of it. I did it. I understand it. I'm not condemning it. It's not something I'm giving the middle finger. But I want to tell you that the Sabbath, biblically, speaking. The biblical true Sabbath is on the moon and sun cycles. God Himself, a holy set apart Father Himself, made that timepiece for that. Okay, keep that in mind. This is Craig Kirk School of Law. This is the end of the Sabbath broadcast, and I pray that your days will be safe, long, and blessed, peaceful, prosperous, all the things that we all need in this earth. May that your refrigerators and cabinets, the contents fall out on the floor, that you're so blessed. And pray for this school, and pray for this Sabbath blessing. Please pray for the school, and pray for the Sabbath message and everything. We need a lot of prayers here. We're like anybody else struggling, and we ask that you pray for us and those things. So, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and disconnect here. I keep saying disconnect here, and we're pretty much done.